कहीं नहीं। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीर वनचारि, यमुना तीर वनचारि, जय रामाधव कुंज बिहारी, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद, जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव गुरुदेव, जय जय गुरुदेव। कृष्ण श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, verse number 33. I have the screenshot, so I'll start reciting. Yatre me sad sadrupe. Is anybody going to repeat or should I go? Continue.
I can repeat, Mother Prabhuji.
Okay, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think 32 verse Prabhuji is supposed to be today.
You're saying 1, 3, 32?
32, correct Prabhuji.
Okay, 1 second. 1, 3, how did I... 1, 3. Okay, we'll go 132. Okay, let's go 132. Okay, 1-3-32. Okay, we'll do this one. Ata param yad avyaktam,
Ata param yad avyaktam,
avyudha guna brahmitam,
avyudha guna brahmitam,
adrishta sruta vastutvat,
adrishta shruta vastutvat,
sajivo yad punarbhava,
sajivo yad punarbhava.
ata param yad avyaktam,
अतः परम यदप्यक्तम्
avyudha guna brahmitam,
अव्युत्था गुणब्रह्मितम्
adrashta shruta vastutvat,
अदृष्टा श्रुतवस्तुत्वात्
jivo yat punarbhava,
सजीवो यत्पुनर्भव
atha param yad avyaktam,
अतः परम
Param yad avyaktam,
avyudha guna brahmitam,
अभ्युत्था गुणब्रह्मितम्
brahmitam,
adrishta shruta vastutvat,
अदृष्टा श्रुतवस्तुत्वात्
sajivo yat punarbhava.
सजीवो
yad
यत्पुनर्भव
punarbhava.
Anybody wants to recite?
Ata param yad avyaktam,
Taparam yad avyaktam,
avyudha guna brahmitam,
अभ्युत्था गुणब्रह्मितम्
adrishta shruta vastutvat,
अदृष्टा श्रुतवस्तुत्वात्
saji सजीवो यत् पुनर्भव
सजीवो यत् पुनर्भव
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Beyond this gross conception of form is another subtle conception of form which is without formal shape and is unseen, unheard, and unmanifest. The living being has his form beyond this subtlety, otherwise he could not have repeated births. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As the gross cosmic manifestation is conceived as the gigantic body of the Lord, so also there is a conception of his subtle form which is simply realized without being seen, heard, or manifested. But in fact, all these gross or subtle conceptions of the body are in relationship with the living beings. The living being has his spiritual form beyond this gross material or subtle psychic existence. The gross body and the psychic functions cease to act as soon as the living being leaves the visible gross body. In fact, we say that the living being has gone away because he is unseen and unheard. Even when the gross body is not acting, when the living being is sound asleep, we know that he is within the body by his breathing. So the living being's passing away from the body does not mean that there is no existence of the living soul. It is there, otherwise how could he repeat his birth and again. The conclusion is that the Lord is eternally existent in his transcendental form, which is neither gross or subtle like that of a living being. His body is never to be compared to the gross and subtle bodies of the living entities or living beings. All such conceptions of the God's body are imaginary. The living being has his eternal spiritual form, which is conditioned only by his material contamination. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuthapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vidamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shavasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Grim Yatkripatamam Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, thank you all for joining. So here we are reading the different incarnations of the Lord were read in this chapter, which is basically Krishna is the source of all incarnations. If you remember earlier in this chapter, we were reading all the avatars of Krishna, and finally we came to the point where it is said, it's actually Sutta Goswami speaking, Ete cha amsa kalapumsam Krishna astu Bhagwan Swayam. That all these expansions are either, all these incarnations are either expansions or expansions of expansions, but Krishna is the Swayam Bhagwan. Then after that is said, then it starts describing about the material form, which is basically the Virat Rupa, and also our form, which is a living entity. So this chapter is giving a complete picture of the spiritual world and also the material world. The spiritual world is described by different incarnations, their planets, and saying Krishna is the ultimate source. And now this is coming to our forms also, that we have gross forms and subtle forms. And also beyond subtle, we have form which is spiritual. So three levels are being described here. Gross, which we see, subtle, which we cannot see, and spiritual also we cannot see. So here, beyond this gross conception of form is another subtle form, conception of form, which is without formal shape and is unseen, unheard, and unmanifest. The living being has his form beyond this subtlety, otherwise, how could we have repeated births? Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita something similar, that that one where he says that basically Dhiras Tatra Namuyati, that particular verse, that Kaumara Yovanam Jara, where he says that a living entity goes through the childhood, middle age, old age, and at the end they switch to another body. A sober person is not bewildered by that change.
Dehinosmin yadati kama.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumara yovanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhiras tatra namuyati. There also Krishna gives a similar understanding, that we are moving from these stages of life, eventually we switch to another body. So here little more detail is given, because we understand that Bhagavatam is one step after Bhagavad Gita. So details are given in terms of how this universe is set up, in terms of how our existence is. Srila Prabhupada explaining in the purport, the gross body, the subtle body, and the soul. Bhumi, Apo, Analo, Vayu, come. These are gross. Mano, Buddhi, Revacha, Ahankar. These three are subtle. Pinna me Prakriti Ashtada. These are my 8 energies. From these 8 energies comes our gross and subtle form, which is our body and mind, intelligence, and ego. We cannot see the mind, we cannot see the intelligence, we can perceive the effect of mind and intelligence. If someone is happy, we can see. If someone is upset, we can see. If someone is really intelligent, as soon as you give them a problem, they solve it and we get the answers. But we cannot see how their brain is working. We can only see the results. But when we are moving our hands or legs, or we are running or sitting or getting up, then we can see. So we already know that there are some things which we can see, but there are some things in our body we cannot see, but we can see the effect. Right? Nobody will deny that there is mind and intelligence. Nobody can deny. Everybody will accept it. People have hard time accepting the existence of the soul. But subtle body cannot be seen. Soul also cannot be seen. People can easily accept that mind and intelligence is there. We cannot see it. But people have hard time accepting soul is there. Here Prabhupada is explaining that an intelligent person will accept all these 3 forms. Gross is there, we accepted, no, 100%. Subtle also we accept. Similarly, we should also accept the existence of the soul. And Prabhupada is saying, if the soul was not there, how is it possible that the living entity will move from one body to the other? Because we leave everything behind. Some other places it is explained that when a living entity goes from one body to the other, okay, they leave the gross body behind. We see that. The subtle one actually they carry with them. Mind, intelligence, and ego, they carry with them. So when the next body is occupied, those elements or those characteristics are there in the newborn. That's why we see even in the very childhood, some children are very calm and some children might be a little aggressive. Some kids are a little bit average. Some kids are very sharp, some children. So we see that the function of the intelligence, mind and ego, some kids may be very sensitive in terms of being hurt, like ego is very strong. And some children may just not feel too much. So mind, intelligence and ego, it goes to next body. This is actually the understanding from our scriptures and from our Sanatana, existence of the gross body, subtle body and the spirit soul. Now question is, why is all this being explained here in Srimad Bhagavatam? Because it's telling us that Krishna has all these forms and Krishna is the source. All these forms are coming from Krishna. Similarly, our source is also Krishna, both the gross and subtle and the soul. Bhagavad Gita also says, Mameva ansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. That all these living entities, they are my amsha. Mameva ansho jiva loke jiva bhuta. Not just jiva manushya, jiva bhuta. Like not only human beings but all living entities. Sanatana, they are eternally my parts and parcels. Mana shashtani indriyani prakrti sthani karshati. Karshati means they are struggling. And we see all around, all living entities, humans and animals, they are struggling. Mana shashta indriyani, by their mind and the six senses. They are struggling in this world. So Bhagavad Gita also gives us this knowledge, but like I was saying, Srimad Bhagavatam gives more detail. So basically this chapter is specifically about establishing the existence of Krishna in different incarnations, Krishna being the source, and our body. Now I just want to extend a little bit more on this one, which is actually going to come soon, about the changing of bodies from material to spiritual. Generally, if a person is perfected and goes back to Godhead, we cannot see that change, because all we see is person has left the body. For example, the case of Srila Prabhupada. When Srila Prabhupada left in 14th November 1977, we just saw that he left the body. But we know for a fact that he acquired some form which we cannot see. Because for someone like Srila Prabhupada, having established Krishna Bhakti all over the world, which was never done before, he is definitely a Senapati Bhakta. He is someone who is sent by Krishna to establish Krishna Bhakti all over the world. Someone like that is with Krishna all the time. Otherwise, he could not have done what he has done. So, when he left his body, we could only see, devotees who were there, they could only see that he's leaving his body. But they cannot see what's happening on the other side. But Bhagavatam has an example of Narad Muni, who's giving details of how he experienced this body and how he experienced the other side, which is the spiritual side. So those details are also given in first canto, where he explains that he was actually a son of a maidservant. I'll just be very short because we only have 10 minutes left. He was son of a maidservant. He was very sober, very quiet, and someday when some devotees were visiting their house, he was serving those devotees, and then he would serve them. After that, whatever prasadam was left, he would eat it by their permission, and he would just hear what they were talking about, Krishna Katha. After 4 months of this experience, he was really attracted to Krishna, and then his mother passed away. After his mother passed away, then he went north and he did tapasya on a bank of a river under a banyan tree. When he did that, he did tapasya, he saw the Supreme Lord, right, through his meditation. When he saw that, Krishna told him that you're not ready yet, but eventually you will see me. I gave you this darshan so that you can just get some motivation to keep going. Eventually, when the time came for him to leave this body, he explains that transition from material body to spiritual body was just like a lightning and thunder in the sky. And then he got this spiritual form, and when the next kalpa came, next day of Brahma came, he got a spiritual body, which is Narad Muni, and then he was free to travel anywhere he wanted without any external means, both to the material worlds, to the spiritual world. Now remember, this Narad Muni is the same spirit soul which was a boy in his last life, and after his mother died, he had to travel so much to go to north. He was exhausted, he was hungry, he was tired, and he explains that I took a bath in a water body and drank water, and I felt a little refreshed. He gives all those details, and then he sat under the tree and did meditation. That is with the material body. In the spiritual body, there is no hunger, no tired, no taking bath in a body. If he wants, he can take, but he is not required to. No meditation, also sitting under a tree. He is just traveling everywhere because he has the spiritual body. So we see that the spirit soul from the material body to the transition of the spiritual body, the activities, they are very different, right? So here in this particular chapter, what is being explained is that what we see today is not our real self. Our real self is beyond what we see. And once we acquire our spiritual nature, the permanent nature, which is what Bhagavatam is guiding us to, then our transition will also be similar to like that of Narad Muni, where we will not be harassed or put into inconvenience because of the difficulties we experience in this body. That's the whole purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam. That actually, like for example, there are 10 topics which are discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam. There's Srimad Bhagavatam, if you summarize it, it can be summarized into 10. Atra Sarga Visarga, that verse is there. There, one of the item which is mentioned is Ishanu Katha Mukti Nirodho Mukti Ashraya. Last four are like this. So Isha Anukatha is the signs of God. That means to hear about Krishna. And then Nirodho, you wind down the universe, and Mukti, liberation. Once a spirit soul is liberated, then they acquire their spiritual form, and that's when they really start living their life, which is what Narad Muni is doing right now. He is having a spiritual form, and he's a free man. He can go anywhere he wants, and he's always happy. And that's what he's asking other people to do. That's why we see Srimad Bhagavatam is so many incidents of Narad Muni doing different things just to inspire people to go through what he went through, which is transition from the material body to the spiritual body. And that is the purpose of Hare Krishna movement or ISKCON movement or Srila Prabhupada coming to our life. Then gradually we steer our life in a way that slowly we start going towards our spiritual nature and leave behind all these material things which are actually in some ways very inconvenient. So with that, it's 6:55 almost. I'll take a pause. If anybody has any questions, we can take. Otherwise, I can explain a little more on that one. We can do either way. Are there any questions or comments?
Prabhuji, for Narada Muni also from the materialistic world to a spiritual world, he moved it. He's not. He's also like a human.
So,
Because of we have materialistic things, right? Kama, Krodha, Moga, and all the things, right? With material, whatever it is there. We, in the sense, normal humans. So whether he also has same thing, and after the spirituality, whether he moved into that stage.
So we see the pictures and we see the descriptions of the spiritual world. We see the descriptions of Vrindavan. So there we see that actually the form in the spiritual world is similar to form of human, but they do not have these difficulties of kama, krodha, lobha and mascharja. Like for example, Bhagavatam explains that the men and women in the Vaikuntha are extremely beautiful, but they are not affected by lust. This is explained in Bhagavatam, somewhere down. You will see it.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it mean? That means men are there, women are there. These are human-like forms. Or another, actually it's the other way. Our form is similar to their form. Like Christianity also says, man is made in the image of God. So looks wise, 2 hands, 2 legs, they are there. So Narad Muni also is similar, but he is not affected by the difficulties of this world, which is what I was saying earlier, that when he was in his previous life, the inconvenience was there because he was in the human form. He was tired, he was hungry. But in the spiritual form, he looks like human, but he doesn't have those difficulties. Does it explain?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Good, nice question. Anything else?
Krishna Prabhuji, is it mean like even in the Goloka we will have like gross body, subtle body, and this spirit soul?
In the Golok, we only have the spiritual body, no gross body and no subtle body. So Krishna says in Gita, Bhumi Apo Nalo Vayu. So these are my energies, right? But we see that when we leave the body, these things are left behind. A dead body is there, right? So that means that's not part of the soul. If it was part of the soul, it will go with it. Because it is not part of the soul, it is left behind. That means when the soul goes to the final destination, it will not have these bhumi, apo, analo, vayu come. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
So in the spiritual world, we have only spiritual form and no birth, no death. Krishna says in Gita, Yad gatva na nivartante. Once you go there, you never come out. Another place in Gita, he says, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu. If a person is born, he must die. These are actually quite opposite statements. On one side, he's saying, once you are born, you must die. On the other side, he's saying, Yad gatva na nivartante. Once you go there, you never come out. Tad dhama paramam mama. That dham is topmost and is mine. So just by comparing these two statements of Bhagavad Gita, we can say here we definitely have to leave, there we never have to leave. So our body there is permanent. That means the spirit form. Make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji.
The spirit form is permanent in the Bhulokam or in the Vaikuntham?
Everywhere.
Oh,
Spiritual world. It's just our activities are different. Our leelas, Krishna's leelas and our participation is different.
mm-hmm. Okay.
But otherwise, it's the spiritual form is thing. See, depending on the rasas, Krishna again says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yathamam prapadyante tam tataiva bhajamyaham. The way you approach me, I reciprocate accordingly. So if someone is attracted or a permanent devotee of Narsingadev, Narsinga form, then that's where they go. If someone is attracted to Ram Leela, then that's where they will go. For example, Hanuman. Hanuman, there's a description that he was invited to go see Lord Krishna in Dwarka. He did not go. He said, my Ishtadev is Ram. Lord Ram is my Ishtadev. He's asked me to be here, do bhajan, that's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually rejected the idea of going to Krishna, even though here it says Krishna astu Bhagwan Swayam. Krishna is the source of all incarnation. But Hanuman has a permanent, eternal attraction to Lord Ram. So that's where he belongs. So like that we see that all these Vaikuntha planets, different devotees are living depending on their Swarup. Their original form, if it's connected with a certain form of the Lord, that's where they live.
Okay.
And that explains how these Vaikuntha planets exist, how these different devotees exist, because everybody is different.
Oh, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one question. Like
Sure.
we said, like there is no birth or death, no subtle body or gross body in Vaikuntha or Goloka, right? So how souls will get that free will they wanted to come back and enjoy these material things. How can the souls fall down from there?
So this question has been going on for years and years and decades. And that's where Srila Prabhupada said, if you're stuck here, if you are in a house and there's fire in it, do you want to figure out how the fire started or you want to get out? That's what the Prabhupada says. So the first thing is we get out of this world. We know for a fact that we are inconvenienced by living in this world, right? We need to get out. How we came, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, Anadi. Anadi means from time immemorial, this soul has fallen in this material world. How that happened, nobody can figure out because we have been through millions and millions and millions of life. Other places, Krishna says, once you go there, you never come back. So this whole question about how this journey started, there are different perspectives that are given, but our acharyas advise us that when you go there, you will understand how this happened. But do not try to figure out, in my particular case, how did I fall down? Because that doesn't really solve the problem of what I'm going through right now. There's enough evidence in our scriptures to say that there exists a spiritual world and that's where we should go. Once we go there, the details we'll find out. For example, my connection with Krishna, I do not know. Most of us do not know. But I know for a fact that I have a connection with Krishna, a particular which is unique to me and Krishna. What it is, where it is, we don't know. Eventually, when you go back to the spiritual world, you will realize that. So there are many things about ourselves which are unknown, but eventually they will be revealed. So similarly, we might just find out how did we fall down. But right now, trying to figure out what's my spiritual form, how did I fall down, is beyond what my brain can figure out. Correct?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
Thank
then
you.
why bother? If something my brain is not capable of figuring out, why waste time?
And in one of the place Prabhupada mentioned, because of our free will, we had a tendency to enjoy. So Krishna said that tatastu. So that's why we came here to enjoy this tiny world.
Yes, that's
Okay.
good point, Prabhu. We also see the case of Jay and Vijay. They also fell down. Krishna says, once you go, you never come back. But Bhagavatam has details of Jay and Vijay falling from the spiritual world to material world by Krishna's arrangement, right? So there are this example also, and like Gopikanta Prabhu said, if you want to go out, Krishna says, okay. And Prabhupada also says one place, if a son of a rich man wants to loiter on the street, what can be done? That's his free will. He has money, everything is there, but if he wants to suffer, nobody can stop. He gives the example of this hippies. They are sons and daughters of rich men, but they're just sitting in the street. What can be done? That's a nice question. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Like Brahma and other demigods, is Narada is also a kind of post, a spiritual post? That's my question. And the second question is Narada, if Narada attains the Vaikuntha planet, then he will also have a similar appearance like Lord Krishna, right? Because whatever the souls reached Vaikuntha have a similar appearance like Krishna. Only thing is that Kaustubha Mani will miss, something like that I heard. Is my question seems valid, Prabhuji?
Yes, very good question, very valid question. So, when a person acquires a spiritual form, it says you have different kinds of mukti. One is sarupya. Sarupya means the rupa, the form is similar to the Lord. But that's only one kind. In some other kind of mukti, we may not look like Lord, exactly like Lord Krishna, but we might be in pastimes of Krishna. For example, the birds in the spiritual world. A bird does not look like Krishna, but it has a spiritual permanent form. So, in case of Narad Muni, your first question whether he's a deva or whether it's a post, actually, That is his permanent position. In the spiritual world, there are not really a concept of post. The post is only for the material world, for the management. Once you go to spiritual world, your position, whatever form it is permanent. So to answer a question, Narad Muni is not really a post. It's a person who has acquired a spiritual body and he's free to travel in the material world and the spiritual worlds. And that's how it goes. And he has a form which is human-like form, but he is not exactly like the Vishnu Dutas, who are look exactly like Sarupya, exactly like Krishna, because he's traveling both spiritual and material. For example, he's always playing Veena. Now, not all forms of Krishna not all forms of Vishnu Dutas in the spiritual world, not everybody is playing Veena, but his form has Veena with him. That's what he plays. Does that answer a question?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's already it's more time, but I thought of asking one question since few days. We have the four Vedas, right? So uh, four Vedas like Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharvana Veda. So is there any relation between these Vedas and the Bhagavatam, or is relation between? Is it those are also part of the Bhagavatam? Just I wanted to understand about that. What it teaches those Vedas.
Good question, Prabhu. So those Vedas were written down. The detail is given in Bhagavatam. It's basically a manual of how to live in this world. All the details are given. It talks about material life, also talks about spiritual life. Then comes the Vedanta. Anta means the end, and Veda is the Vedas. Vedanta Sutra is basically the conclusion of the Vedas. Srimad Bhagavatam is described as the commentary on Vedanta. The conclusion of all the Vedas is Srimad Bhagavatam, and you will see in first canto when Vyasadeva wrote everything down, all the Vedas, still he was not satisfied, and Narad Muni came and told him, because you have not given enough details about the pastimes of the Lord, you are not happy, and that's when he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. So to answer your questions, these Vedas are there with details of how to live in this world. Someone wants to be beautiful, someone wants to have money, someone wants to have peace. All these things, the procedures are described. Someone is interested in music, someone is interested in medicine.
Mm-hmm.
All these details are given in Vedas. Ayurveda is also part of Veda, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Eventually, Bhagavatam tells you, okay, now you've learned everything, but your real home is not this place. Your real home is the spiritual world. This is how you get out. So that's what Srimad Bhagavatam is, the conclusion, the final instruction. For example, Gita, Krishna gave all kinds of yogas, and then in the end he says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. If Mamekam Sharanam Vraja is there, what's the need of giving all the details? Because there are people who need it. So there are people who will be interested in Vedas, but the conclusion is Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Give up everything, come to me. Similarly, Bhagavatam is the conclusion of all the Vedas. If we focus on Bhagavatam, there's not much need to go there. That's why Prabhupada really didn't give us all the details of Vedas, because it's not needed. Make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much. It's a very interactive session. Let's thank His Grace Nanda Kumar Prabhu for delivering a wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam class by chanting 3 times Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai.
We wish you a very, very happy Krishna conscious day ahead. We will have Srimad Bhagavatam class tomorrow as usual at 6:30 a.m. Let's offer our prayers to Lord Narasimha to give complete protection to our congregation and the entire world. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnam Jalantam Sarvato Mukam Narasimham Bhishanam Badram Muchor Namamyam उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मुच्चोर्मुच्चोर्नमाम्यहम् उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मुच्चोर्मुच्चोर्नमाम्यहम् नरसिंह भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय.
Hare Krishna.
And let's offer our prayers to all assembled Vaishnavas who gave wonderful association to read this Bhagavatam. Pancha kalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhobhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namaha. Let's chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times enthusiastically and wind up the session. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. भगवान श्री कृष्ण परमात्मा की जय. अमल पुराणम श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. समवेद भक्तवृंद की जय. गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. हरे कृष्णा. We'll see you all tomorrow morning 6:30 a.m. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.